back to Schmuckle Farm. Just out here in the pasture. I've got a little bit of work to get done on the goat enclosure today. I've got other stuff to get done as well. First thing I'm going to do is, since I got the forks on there now, I hope the goats don't chew on the tractor. They'll chew on pretty much anything plastic. So I'm going to take the hay feeder down to the other barn, get it cleaned up, ready for the round roll feeding, which will probably start in about another month. And then I'm going to get the bucket and come in here and start removing this bedding. It's a mixture of hay from the hay feeder. There was sawdust and mulch also down. And of course it's got goat poop in it. And that's really good stuff to spread out on the pasture. So the way I maintain my pastures, I don't put chemicals on them. I don't put any fertilizers on them. What I do is I mow anything that's too tall. That kept the weeds out of it. I did that for the first 2 years and eliminated all the weeds that I had out here. Horse nettles, you name it, I had everything. But this area over here, you can see where the goats are now. That's where I had put the seed from what I'd swept up from the round bales. And I had also put out the last bit of the bedding that was in there before. So spread that out and let nature do its thing. The best fertilizer, in my opinion, is for animals to be on it, or to use the manure from the animals that are actually on the farm. Spread that on the grass instead of using harsh chemicals, which are not only expensive, but I just don't want them in the water system around here. The horse barn's fed off of a well. The house is off of a well. I got 2 ponds. The last thing I want to do is dump a whole lot of fertilizer on these pastures because they're at the top of the hill. And when it rains, everything's going to go down the hill. And I don't want fertilizer in my ponds. I don't want it around my well pumps. So, as you can see, it's the middle of August. We're only getting about maybe a couple hours of rain a week right now. And yet, despite all the animals that are on it, this grass is holding up really well. And that's because it has a good base. I have used the manure carts. You've seen that in the past, using manure spreader to spread the compost piles out. I mow these pastures to keep the weeds down. The goats do a great job of that as well. I had a lot of horse nettle out here when I bought the place. Had a lot of just junk weeds, and I've gotten rid of just about all of them. But I do have some thin spots, especially up on top of these berms. So I'll spread some of that everywhere that I have thin areas. I'm going to spread that, and then I'm going to go back in probably middle of next month. The temperature should be cool enough, and I'll put some ryegrass seed out so that we have a little bit of a winter base too. Well, Nugget was nice enough to go into the back lot, so we're going to shut him over there. And the main reason for putting him over there is we have a new horse here, Luca. And Luca wants to come over on this side. He's standing over here by the fence wanting in, because he prefers this pasture. He's only been here a few days, but this is the one he prefers. But he and Nugget are both somewhat dominant. So if I put them together, there's going to be a fight. So it's easier just to shut Nugget back here while I'm doing this. I can open this gate because I want to put a lot of this stuff up in the front in the new paddock. And that way if Luca comes through here, there's still a fence between them. Every time I do this, I wish that I owned a box blade, because it would be so easy just to back the tractor in here. I can get some of it with a front end loader, but just not the way I would if I had a box blade. But I do have a shovel. Gonna own a farm, you better know how to use one of these. right, well, that concludes the manure shoveling portion of this video. This is what it looks like when I'm done. Obviously, there's still a little bit of goat poop on the floor, but since I'm going to be covering it back up with sawdust and mulch in preparation for winter bedding, I'll get a round roll of oat straw, something like that, and roll out in there when it starts turning cold. Give the goats a little bit of extra insulation from the ground. And I don't worry too much about the stuff that ends up in here, because when we get a good rain, everything that comes over the berm over here on the other side washes through here, and it spreads this down here and that way, which is one reason why we have such thick grass right here. Well, that's done, and I'm glad. Fortunately, I only have to do that like twice a year, but it really sucks. And I don't want to know how many hours I spend a month literally shoveling crap. So, anyway, did get the fence up, didn't bother filming it. Finished the fence on the new paddock. I do have one extra gate post over there I need to get, where I'm going to put either a 6 or an 8 foot gate up here in this gap where I cut the fence. But the goats have already gotten in here, and as you can see, they make very, very short work of any type of brush, vines. You can see Steve climbed up the tree as high as he could reach, ate all the vines off the side of it. And that's what those little guys are good for. Goats will clean up a mess. That's what I'm going to keep. I'm probably going to sell most of them, but I'm going to keep 2 or 3 around just for that. You can see these weeds. The goats have gotten here, stripped all the leaves off of those. This was a big washout spot. I don't want to fill it in completely because this is very important. This is where the pasture on this half drains, and it comes down right through this little valley here. But I knew the goats would clean this out, and I knew they'd get down in there. That's why I brought those 2 pipes in, to keep that end open. And also, I used some cattle panel, which you can see they've already been pushing on it here. And that's what you have to do with goats. You have to plug up every hole. Now, I guess one of the small ones could manage to stick its head through back there, but it'd be crawling through a bunch of blackberries to do it. Pretty small hole, maybe 4 or 5 inches wide. Eventually, I will probably put a T-post or something there just in case. But you can see they've already jumped down here, and they've been cleaning this ditch out. They eat pine trees. They've knocked this pine tree over. They're like little bulldozers, and they do a good job of it. They'll kill all of these little, yopons that were growing up. This will all be gone in the spring. They'll kill every bit of it. The owner of the Minis and Nugget and Peter here, that's Peter, he belongs to them. They are in the process of buying a new farm. So sometime probably in about 3 weeks, we will be losing 3 of the Minis, Donkey, which is really sad. And I'm sending Steve with them to keep Peter company, because you got to have more than 1 goat. If you've only got 1 goat, the 1 goat will leave and find other goats. But if they close on this farm, I'll be moving all of them around the 2nd week of next month. So we're not really looking forward to that, but I'm happy for them. They are getting their own place, nice house on 9 acres and really nice barn. So Donkey will have a good place to go. I just don't want to see him go, because everybody gets attached to him. Right, Donk? So what's not to love about me? I know, buddy. Before we close this, I'll go ahead and introduce you to Luka, L-U-K-A. Luka is the new horse for Aztec's owner. Remember, Aztec passed away, if you saw that video. Luka is half quarter horse, half Paso Fino. 10 years old, very curious. Apparently loves cameras. Well-built little horse, needs to lose just a touch of weight because I had him on some really heavy peanut hay, which will put a little bit of belly on him. But his owner gets along quite nicely with, yeah. Apparently he didn't appreciate that comment. But his owner gets along quite nicely with him. Very easy horse to ride. She's been out here riding him. Very easy horse to handle and keep. He had a little bit of a dominant attitude on day one and started showing it out here. And then Skippy saw that, met him out at the goat enclosure, explained to him who's really in charge, and we haven't had a problem since. When the other minis came out here to see Luca, he ran around them, scared him a little bit. I don't think he's seen them before, or I don't know if he's seen minis before. He's kind of a dominant horse, so Skippy decided it was time to come on this side and explain the rules of the yard, because Skippy is the mafia boss and you're going to do what he says. It's not time to eat, buddy. It's not time to come in. I know. Anytime I'm up here working, they think it's time to eat, even though it's only like probably 1 o'clock. But it's really nice out today. They should want to be out here. It's not very humid. Really good breeze blowing. You can probably hear it. Haven't had a lot of rain, so it's a little bit dry. Like I said, probably not even 90 degrees. It's a good day to be outside in the shade, right, Selena? Yeah, maybe so, maybe not. I'm gonna go do some other chores. We'll wrap it here. Till next time, thanks for watching. Is there anything that you would like to say?